Alright, welcome to Creepy Warehouse, the game. I'm Jeff Campbell, the guy who made the game, and I'm just testing out the patch version for this game, and I thought I'd just record it at the same time to point out some of the things I did. So right away, the front title screen is a lot different. There's no map in the bottom right corner anymore, because I figured most people didn't know what it was, and it wasn't that important anyways. We have buttons instead of just clicking to continue. There's an options menu. It's not super exciting, but it took a lot of work, because I never really made one of these before, but it all works out. Gamma to adjust the brightness, the look around speed if you want to adjust that. But anyway, let's just jump right into it. We'll show off my awesome animation skills. Blah. So there was originally planned to do a bit more intensive an intro than that, but animation's tricky. So basically I just took a model off Mixamo so I could get some legs going and have a little flashlight. If you look really closely, you can notice that you don't actually have any arms, but let's just not worry about that. So I took the instructions off the walls and I just put it onto the pause menu, so if you push escape you can see all the information you need to have to play the game. You also have the access to the options menu and the ability to quit the game at any time. The only reason I point that out is that the options is technically on a different scene or a different level, and it gets loaded on top of this level, but that gets kind of technical, but I just wanted to point out that it's really cool. I took out the stainless steel texture and just changed it with this kind of Silent Hill rusty texture because I thought it looked neater. We also have this pink mist everywhere. Oh, he's already here. Oh crap, okay. I'll talk about him in a second, but the pink mist is just basically whenever you whenever you got the page that corresponds to the same area. So if we pick up this page right here, which is all nice and flashy now, the mist will then disappear. So now we know this area is clear, we don't need to look around for the page here anymore. I also put some numbers on the locks just to try to make it more obvious that, hey, you gotta unlock 8 locks. Although, when I was testing it, I noticed it doesn't always, each page is supposed to correspond to a certain lock, so they don't always disappear in an exact order. Sometimes it's a little random. Yeah, most of the changes I made was just based on the feedback I got from the comment section, so I wanted to say thanks for everybody who actually uploaded there, because it's really handy to see how other people play the game and the sort of things I take for granted. Most of this stuff is pretty much the same. I cleaned up. Whoop. Where are you? Well, okay. Yeah, so he's getting me through the doorway here. I can't even go through the door anyways. You are slightly smaller in this game because the collision detection was getting a little wonky. The getting to detect when the monster's on screen is a very tricky process, and the original version of this game, it was incredibly broken. He could actually get you through walls and stuff like that, but yeah, it mostly worked. Mostly. But so what I did here was, one of the problems was he orientates his whole body towards the player or you at any given moment, and because he has 2 sensors on his feet to detect whether or not he's on screen or not, sometimes he could actually clip through the floor and be able to detect you that way. It's a very weird bug, but I think I finally got it. Basically, I just locked his feet. I locked his feet in place so that he turns his body horizontally to face the player, but he turns his head vertically. I think that's the right term. Anyways, he moves his head up and down to actually face the player, but he only turns his body on a certain axis. Which sounds a little weird, but basically it just involved me going into Blender and cutting his head off so I could treat it as a separate game object. There's a lot of rotations involved. But so these changes I made right here, this was kind of more in line with what I was originally going with kind of magical pages. We're going to whole backstory of this game, but none of it's really important. And basically what I did here is I just went to, it wasn't Photoshop, it was something called GIMP, which is another Photoshop imitator. Like, it's just a free version. But I just made some wingdings, and then I copied and pasted and used it as a texture in Unity to kind of copy and paste and some blur on it and make it all glowy and creepy. But yeah, they're mostly just wingdings. In my head, I was going to, like, come up with some cool designs, but that's hard to do, and I'm not much of an artist, so I think the wingdings kind of get the effect of, ooh, mysterious. Ah, crap. Alright, so here, biggest change I made here is there's actually collision on the walls here, so I noticed one person actually managed to go through the walls because I copied and pasted the model of the wall rather than the game object of the wall, which is a very weird distinction to make, and it weirded me out too. But yeah, this whole section didn't have collision on it, so you could actually just run right through the walls. But it's not really something what I notice most people do is run up against walls, but it happens, so now you don't fall through the map anymore. So this looks a little awkward, but oh, that's what I get for taking my time. It's really a speed-based game. You have to run for your life. Alright, but where was I? Oh yeah, the fog stuff. So that's usually, there's a standard assets in the Unity where they'll give you a bunch of free assets, I guess, and one of them was like a smoke machine or a smoke storm or something like that, so I usually like taking that and then just changing the color and making it all woo. The fact that it's pulsating, though, is kind of a cool effect that I kind of did by accident, so kind of give it more of a heartbeat look. And I think it's, oh there, yeah, because I just pick up the page. So the particle system only lasts for a few seconds and then it just restarts over again. It's not that exciting, but this is just kind of one of those happy accents where it's just like, instead of just having a permanent fog, it's like breathing or pulsating or whatever you want to call it. But this is mostly the same. I was going to do more with these buttons, but I think most people kind of figured it out pretty quickly. Didn't need any more signs or anything like that. I think the pages are a little harder to see, but you have the options menu to turn up the gamma, so if you want to make the game brighter. Making the game brighter doesn't make it any easier, but it's an option in case however your computer displays is different than mine. But I didn't really mess with the page locations. They're all mostly in the same spot. But most of the work I put onto this was just fixing up those bugs. I think one of the summon spots the monster can go to is like this corner over here. And he was appearing halfway through the ground just because I misplaced where I put the teleport point. It was a big game. It was a big project, I'm just saying. I did a lot of cutting, pasting, and sometimes I guess I went too fast and didn't check everything. And something like that one was close by. There's a very subtle heartbeat noise that the pages emit. Ooh, I think that page was floating in midair, but that's cool. It's a magic page anyways. It's supposed to float and be mysterious. I think I had to adjust where all the page locations too, because I made a whole new model for the actual pages themselves. It's not just a glowing cube anymore. If you look really closely, there's a paper texture on top of it, so there's the attention to detail right there. Oh crap. I just wanted to whip this one out super quickly because I got the next project started. I'm just doing another condemned game, but it's proven to be a bit of work, so I just wanted to wrap this one up real quick. It's one of those situations where I could just add things forever. Where is the page? Probably on the second floor there. But yeah, I didn't really want to mess with the core gameplay all that much, so the monster is just as aggressive as he always is. It's just now his detection system's like, oh, that was it. I changed the way he detects, so before I was using like math and rotations and calculating the difference in angle between where the player is facing versus where the monster is on screen or where the monster's vision points are. It got a little weird, but it involved a lot of raycasting. Instead of that, I basically just I calculated where the monster's vision points are on screen, and if they're less than one, that I knew one of those points is on screen, so he's obviously visible. One of the problems is this game's resolution. Sometimes you could actually look at the monster if you looked at him through the corners, because of it was only taking effect if you looked at him from a certain angle. Where'd he go? I was going to try to show it off to see if it was still bugged or not. Anyways, that point was sometimes you could see the monster on screen, but he wasn't actually doing any damage to you. There it is. So now it works pretty effectively. Oh, he's gone. But yeah, so still the same, substantially the same game. You got a cool little flashlight in the corner too. There was plans to add more animation. I think the other thing too was there was a jumping animation too. I just ripped all these off from mixmo.com and used a blend tree to kind of get all this cool movement stuff. So it has a sideways movement and a forward movement, and then backwards is just forward played in reverse. But messing around with that armature got a little finicky, and then the jump animation, he just moved around way too much, and I didn't really want to animate it myself, so he's got a lot of bones to animate, that's all I'm saying. Anyways, that's the end of the game. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time, I guess. Goodbye.